Hey guys, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Nice cold day here. We went from 2 days of 60 degrees back down to the 20s and 30s. It's all good. So I want to talk about something it's part of this lockout, and it's a significant part of contention, but it's not being talked about publicly. And I'm not exactly sure how many people know about it, but it's affecting the way they're negotiating on both sides significantly. So, and again, speaking of to former Major League ball players myself and getting some insight into that onto that side, it's changed my perspective at this part, at this juncture or this part of the negotiation process. So, and I want to share it with you because I think it's important for you to know too. It might even give you a little bit of a different outlook and perspective on this as well. So, because at the end of the day, like both sides, bear responsibility for this lockout being this long. I think it's mostly on the owner side, obviously, but both sides are bearing responsibility. And do I think both sides have done things to be, sound obnoxious and greedy? Yes. But this part here, I'm in 100% agreement in defense of the players' union for this specific reason. Okay. Before I do that, if this is your first time here, welcome. If you enjoy this type of content, please hit that like and subscribe button. It's really helpful to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. And if you want to be fed in on everything throughout this lockout and every free agent signing and trade that happens, because there's 300 guys that need to be signed after this lockout, this is the place where you're going to find it. So, but I thank you. But let's get to this because I think it's important. So you know how the MLB Players Union has been working really hard to get the salaries of the pre-arbitration players increased. Okay. Well, right now it's currently as for the last CBA, it was $570,000 at the bottom threshold level, and then it kind of went up a little bit. MLB is asking for $775,000 for pre-arb 0 to 1 year service, 1 to 2, and 2 to 3. So the first 3 years of pre-arb, all 3 years of pre-arb before arbitration. And MLB owners have countered now. They've kind of worked their way up to the bottom level being 615. 600 for 0 to 1 year, 650 for 1 to 2 years, and 725 for 2 to 3 years before negotiations start during the arbitration process, if players make it that far, and not a ton do. So, and that's the other part of this as well. And again, don't get me wrong, let's just use that bottom level of $615,000, which is a little over $51,000 a month. It's really hard for me to defend people who make $600,000 a year. Okay, it's really hard to do. But that said, there's a caveat to this component that isn't being publicly discussed, and I can understand why. So with that, when a player gets called up, right, from the minors to the majors, I mean, obviously it's a great honor and it's great excitement and all this stuff, but a couple of perks come along with it. One of the perks is the player gets major league level or major league quality health insurance for him and his family, which is fantastic. Basically, he'll get the health insurance plan that the people at the major leagues with guaranteed contracts and all this stuff are making. And again, fantastic, because we all know how much health insurance is with premiums, co-pays, deductibles. Like, we get pounded left and right with this stuff. So having that perk is a really, really fantastic thing. The other thing that goes along with it is that his salary goes up to the major league level of pre-arb. So let's just use that 0 to 1 year. He'll make, $51,000 per month if he stays up, or for as long as he stays up. So, and again, it's it's kind of averaged out as far as to my recollection, it's averaged out. So if he stays here for 2 weeks, it's halved in 26,000 and so on. So, but it's at a rate of 51,000 per month. And last I heard, the MLB players get paid once a month. So, great. Okay, but the other caveat to this is if that player gets called down or sent back down, let's just say he stayed up here for a month to replace an injured player or whatever it is, he keeps his health insurance, and so does his family, but the salary goes back down to what he was making in the minor leagues. So that is, that's one of the things one reason that the Major League Players Association is trying to get these salaries up, because more often than not, the players get sent back down, and unless you're a first-round draft pick with a massive signing bonus in the millions, this stuff really affects you, okay? And it's not a bad thing to have to be more stringent with budgeting and stuff like that, like us regular folks do on a regular basis. But it could affect their ability to buy a house, car, put tuition for kids. Like it changes everything. It changes their finances and whatnot. And again, they just have to be more stringent as opposed to somebody making $30 million a year. So that component, that caveat, and I'm not sure how many of you knew about this, but it's there. And again, this might change. Everything I'm talking about right now might change with the new collective bargaining agreement, but that's what it's been that way for quite a while now. And And again, it changes. So and what puzzles me is that owners have no problem paying $30 million plus for a top player, and they call or the agents will call this is the setting the market or fair market value and blah blah blah. But owners have been averse for quite a while at paying these pre-arb kids more money, even though it's not fully guaranteed like a contract is for a Max Scherzer or something like that. It's 100% guaranteed for the life of the contract. Okay, this stuff again, you go up as you get called down, it goes back down to the level, so back down to the minor league level. So it actually saves major league teams a boatload of money, and at the rate people get called up and stay up is not that significant overall. So that component right there changes things. Okay, and my personal opinion is, if an owner makes, it has no problem again paying that top rate, but is against paying the low rate, to me that's the very definition of greed. Okay, and this is where I fully am in agreement in support of the players' union and the players. They should be paid more. We go to the games to watch the players, not the agents, not the GMs, not the owners. They're the ones whose numbers are on the merch, right, and on the cards and everything else, and people go to see. And again, more often than not, these players are put in this position, and the lifespan of those players isn't, it's not like an NFL where the lifespan of a player could be like 3 to 4 years, but not everybody has a long career in the major leagues, and those that do tend to do pretty well. But again, just getting through 3 years of arbitration into arbitration is not something that everybody does. Like, even use the Yankees as an example. I mean, there's so many guys that haven't made it through arbitration, even to arbitration. So we have a couple guys now, Luke Voigt and Miguel Andujar and Gary Sanchez, but like, there's a whole bunch of other guys that don't get that far. Even guys that have moved recently. I mean, Chris Kitten's never made it. Like Tyler Wade did. But he's moved on now, and some of these other guys have had opportunities to do this, and Greg Allen made it through, and he's in arbitration now, and some of these other guys. So good for them. But again, that salary fluctuation is a really big difference maker, which is why teams like the Yankees should be giving these kids a longer opportunity. I didn't see the point of them sending back down Luis Hill after he was fantastic when they called him up. Why the hell did they send him back down? Just to bring up a starter who wasn't going to, or another player who wasn't going to do, as much, and who didn't do as much when he came up. So this is where it frustrates me when teams don't give kids an opportunity, and then you have a bunch of people and fans or say, "Oh, he was a bust, he sucked." Well, it's really hard to, hit somebody like Jacob deGrom or Garrett Cole or some of these other guys, Corbin Burns, Max Scherzer, when you're only playing once a week. This isn't Little League. This is Major League Baseball. One of the hardest things in the world in sports to do is hit a baseball at 100 miles an hour, hit a 90-mile-an-hour slider from the left-handed side. It's virtually impossible when you don't play on a regular basis. So that's where I think kids get more opportunities. But then you have owners saying, "Well, crying poverty, we can't do this, we can't do that." Baloney, absolute baloney. So, but I wanted to feed you in on this because I'm not sure how much you knew about this, but it's been that way for a while, and it's frustrating. And I think the kids should be paid more, and especially moving up towards arbitration. So when there's no guarantee that they're going to get a big contract, especially how long it takes just to get to free agency, 6 years. I mean, it's crazy. So, and the owners refuse to kind of budge on that. So this is where they have to move up, and I do think they should get higher to or closer to 775 because of this reason. Because there's no guarantee that the players are going to stay up for that long and make this money commensurate with the salary that it should be. So you guys let me know what you think. I find it interesting. Give me your feedback in the comments. Let's get into this one.